What is happening, everybody? All right, so it seems like I got a little bit of backlash when I compared that Procharged 2011 Mustang with my Challenger. I thought it'd be pretty cool to show on a dyno chart basically some real-world differences between a naturally aspirated large displacement engine versus a forced inducted small displacement engine. But a lot of folks, well, they came back basically whining that, well, that number of 463 horsepower to the rear wheels was too low. And real quickly, before I get into this, that car had a Boss intake and long tube headers. Aside from that, it's a bone stock 2011 Mustang with an entry-level Procharger. So, the other thing that I wanted to show was what does a healthy S550 put down on the dyno, because I didn't have a file on hand, at least readily on hand, for a older Coyote. And in this case, this 50th anniversary 2015, by the way, a gorgeous car, laid down a very healthy 344 horsepower and 346 pound-feet of torque. That's healthy for that car on this dyno. A normal older Coyote will lay down around 325. The S550s with a manual transmission will typically lay down, somewhere around 340, 345. So this was run through an automatic. Again, a healthy example of that S550. Compare that to whatever the internet says a dyno jet would show for that car. So let's get over here and kind of walk through some of the math. This is Procharger's website, and they're claiming bolt-on 185 plus horsepower. All right, well, let's see. If a normal Coyote, older style, is going to lay down somewhere around 325 horsepower, and this one laid down 463, gives you about 138 horsepower difference on a Mustang dyno. All right, well, divide that by 0.85 to get a rough estimate of flywheel horsepower gain of 162 horsepower, but again, on Mustang dyno numbers. To translate that to flywheel horsepower derived from a dyno jet, I'm going to take that number and divide by about 0.9. And look at that, about 180 horsepower. Pretty much in line with what they were claiming. Now, I'd say that's not too far off at all. Keep in mind, this car did still have the stock oil pump gears, and we did not turn it as hard as we could have. Had that been the case, look at the dyno chart. It is still climbing. If we'd have turned this thing another 500 RPM or so, that number of 463 might have looked a little bit more like 475, maybe even 480. So yeah, the number is about right. So again, I wanted to just post this up for you guys, show you a little bit of, evidence to my claim, and to let you guys know that, yeah, Prochargers make a bunch of power, and they can be safe provided you have all of the right accompanying modifications done to the car. In this case, bone stock block. Of course, it had the intake and the long tubes, but we couldn't turn it that hard because it didn't have the oil pump gears. Catching the idea here, if you're going to put a supercharger on your Mustang, do the oil pump gears so we can turn that thing a little harder, all right? So that's a wrap on this one. Y'all have a great one. Hey.